Oh, no. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the channel. I'm Stanosa and this is an Overwatch news update, and I think we need to start this with the announcement for the Nintendo Switch Overwatch themed Pro Controllers. So this is what they look like. This is the Reaper one, and I'm not a fan of these at all. I think these look really kind of cheap. I think honestly they could have done a better job if they just used the sort of the icon for the hero, then maybe like one of the sprays or something over, because just slapping a bit of artwork of the character in the middle of the controller makes it look super cheap. But that's Reaper. Reaper's one, it's like, okay, it's fine, it's great, whatever. This is the one that made me laugh. This is D.Va's. Now, color-wise, I think this looks really nice. And imagine if this didn't have D.Va in the middle. It just had a face in the bottom right and it had the D.Va logo on the left. It'd look fine. But you'll notice, ladies and gentlemen, as we start to zoom in, who the hell approved that design? Look where the home and the screenshot buttons are. Look where they are. What is this? This is why I was losing my mind, because I'm like, I seen this and I'm like, what? Who would approve this? This looks so bad. It looks so bad. But not even including that. Yes, it's unfortunate placement of the buttons with the artwork. Surely somebody would have seen this. Like, so somebody's approved this. It just looks terrible. Just get rid of the characters off the controllers. They look stupid. Whatever. You guys let me know what you think about that in the comments below. It's time we talk about loot boxes again, ladies and gentlemen. So, the UK, or the government, or one of the bodies that advises the government, one of the government committees, they're recommending that, yes, they should be, well, not necessarily banned, but they should be put under the same rules as gambling is. Now, this actually is really huge because loot boxes, they are gambling, aren't they? If you guys may remember, EA back earlier on in the year, this was, when they basically said that, no. They went in front of the select committee in the UK and said, actually, no, guys, no. Loot boxes are not gambling. They're surprise mechanics. Oh, yes, they're quite ethical. They're quite fun. No, EA, no. I mean, that's like a typical EA move, yeah? Because EA make a ton of money off FIFA Ultimate Team, which relies on, well, loot boxes. I know Overwatch probably makes a ton of money off loot boxes as well. Although theirs, you could argue, is a little bit different because it impacts the gameplay. This is the FIFA Ultimate cards. Because I think you have to have, when the cards are like better players and they play, whatever, right? I'm not entirely sure, but I'm pretty sure it affects the gameplay. In Overwatch, it doesn't affect gameplay, so you could argue it's not as bad. However, what this committee is now saying is they are recommending that all loot boxes in the UK in games should come under gambling laws, and that is actually really huge because it means you can't have these in games that you would sell to minors. That means you can't sell them to anyone under the age of 18 in the UK. That's huge. Like, that is really huge. This isn't law, though, just yet. This is a committee that advises the government. So the government may decide to take this further forward. But one thing I did notice today is when I was watching the BBC News in the morning, because I'm British and that's what you do, there was parents on there that were talking about thousands that have been spent on Fortnite that they didn't know about. You know, this always comes around every time this stuff hits the news. Annoyingly so for us Overwatch fans, they always use the Overwatch loot box as like the icon for like loot boxes, when actually the Overwatch loot box is like the least offensive one of the lot in a way, because it's not it's just not as offensive. Well, we know why it's not as offensive. It's pointless me explaining this video. I don't want to go over stuff we've already gone over, and also I don't really want to try and defend it because it's still random and it's still kind of a bit annoying, and it's like, but there are ways of earning them through playing the game, you know. So yeah, we know the case with Overwatch, but still, this could be huge because if the UK starts passing laws like that, then potentially you see other major countries start doing the same thing, and then games have got a major problem because they can't monetize themselves anymore, and that would mean the game design would change. But would that be a bad thing or a good thing? Well, loot boxes have always been kind of annoying. I mean, I remember when Overwatch launched, everybody went crazy because it was a full-price game with loot boxes. It's like, what are you doing, Activision Blizz? Trying to have your cake and eat it? And they totally were. You know, really, shouldn't there even been loot boxes in the game? Probably not, you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. But then you look at other games, they go free-to-play like Fortnite, but then charge you a lot of money per skins. But then they keep pumping out loads of skins, loads of items for you to buy each week, and it's really expensive if you want to keep up with the crowd. And of course, that makes younger people sort of want to get on that bandwagon and spend money, and that's where it becomes predatory, and that's where I think these guys are having an issue. But loot boxes, we could have a massive debate about that, but yeah, this is an interesting development that could impact the way we see loot boxes in Overwatch in the future. There's a link in the video description, guys. Go and click on that because it'll take you to a video that's been made by the wonderful Overfire guys. This is a Russian Overwatch YouTube channel, but what they've done is they've data mined Brigitte's Busan Karaoke song, so go and check it out. I don't think it's in English just yet, but it's in a lot of other languages, which is really cool. But yeah, this probably means that we're going to get this on the live service fairly soon. She'll probably be the next hero to get, well, a new song in Busan, which is a shame because nobody seems to play Brig anymore. Oh dear me. And by the way, I want Brig to get fixed, guys. I'm not like some Brig hater where I'm like, no, Brig's terrible. I think Brig has a space in the game, but I don't know what they've done with her. Like, she just feels really, really underwhelming. She went from being like super impactful to just being like, bleh. And I don't like, sometimes I don't know what they're doing with balance. I mean, who knows, ladies and gentlemen, what the hell? So talking of balance, talking of problems and all of that good stuff, what about a map voting system in Overwatch? Now, there are maps we hate playing, right? Like Horizon, who the hell likes Horizon? Who the hell likes Paris? Like, you could honestly get rid of all the assault maps for me and I'd be like, okay, whatever, I'll play Paris. That's fine. We'll get rid of the assault maps because they can be really frustrating. There's often this thing in Overwatch where you could argue one of the most entertaining and fluid game modes, Control, is the shortest match time. And then you could argue that actually the worst game mode, which is Assault, is the longest because you could have like a 6-6 or 6-7 scoreline or even something more ridiculous on Horizon, and then you uninstall the game. Ladies and gentlemen, but maybe that's just me. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Anyway, this thing you guys are looking at on the screen, this has been made by the user Pure Wasted on Reddit. There is a link to the post in the video description. And this shows you one way Blizzard could potentially implement a map voting system. So the way this would work is obviously pretty simple. It's just a nice little UI pops up. There's two maps. While the game's loading in, there's a 10-second, let's say, period of time where you just get to click on the map icon and it takes you to that map. That could be cool, right? Now, there's probably people out there thinking, well, Sty, what happens if it's like, I don't know, like Numbani versus Hanamura? Who the hell is going to go to Hanamura? Everyone's going to vote for Numbani. They would do, right? But what happens if it was Hanamura versus Kings Row? Probably they'd go for Kings Row there, because Kings Row is probably the best map in the game. But what happens if we start getting funky? And what happens if it popped up and it was Paris versus Horizon? You don't want to go to any of those maps, but you've got to pick one, right? Yeah? So in that case, you'd still play on the bad maps, but it wouldn't be as often. And you would feel as a player, you've got more control on what you want to do. Now, talking of this, there's a whole load of issues with Overwatch right now with the balance in 2.2.2. I'm expecting some sort of major patch to come out on the PTR fairly soon with a ton of updates, because if they're not working on that now, I don't know what they're doing, because we've got a lot of heroes that are just not as effective. There's a couple of heroes which are like really enabling a very, very strong meta right now. This is, of course, a double barrier meta. And the reason why we've got that is you look at a hero like Orisa and Sigma. I think Sigma, to be honest, I think is kind of okay. But Sigma's issue is he came out at a really iffy time because you've got Orisa. Orisa doesn't have barrier downtime. She can just drop barriers and then drop another barrier and then drop another barrier. You look at Reinhardt, he's got barrier downtime. You look at Winston, barrier downtime. And by the way, where is Winston? Winston's playtime has literally just disappeared because he just gets destroyed by everybody. And then you look at Sigma, who's got a redeployable, very versatile barrier, which, yeah, can be destroyed, but he can call it away. And while it's called away, or he puts it away, Orisa's barrier takes up the slack, then you can, like, interchange them. Now, that's why Orisa's super strong right now, because a barrier just has massive uptime. So, really, she needs something which can maybe prevent her dropping barriers down as fast as she can, but then maybe that would make her absolutely terrible, and then you'd never see her again, and it's like, ooh, there's all of this stuff going on. But the balance is the big problem we've got, because there are heroes like Brig, she's a good example of this, who would have been terrible in 2.2.2, so they reworked her, and now she's in a weird place where we don't really, like, it hasn't actually had any impact. I don't think it has. It's weird at the moment, but maybe that's just a result of the fact that we've got Orisa and we've got Sigma being the favored tanks, and then we've got like Mei, Reaper, Symmetra is like the favored DPS. Now I know you can play other heroes, but that's kind of the way the game's going, and it's like, and obviously Moira as well is in a lot of games because she's just so effective. In fact, if you're a support player, you are sort of pushed into playing Moira more than maybe you would like. I don't know. I kind of enjoy Moira, but she's not a hero I can play for like loads of games on the try. Anyway, I've gone off on a kind of a bit of a tangent there, but the point I wanted to make is sometimes in Overwatch you want to play a certain hero on a certain map. And you don't know if that's going to be the case when you go into the game. Like, as your game's loading in, if it shows King's Row and then it shows Ilios, well, what heroes do I want to play there if I'm logged in as tank? Well, on Ilios, I probably want to play Orisa or Sigma, and on King's Row, Orisa or Sigma. Okay, so tank's a bad example. Let's say, no, it's not, whatever. Let's just say screw the meta. I really like Reinhardt on King's Row. I want to play Reinhardt if I see King's Row. On Ilios, though, I don't. I want to play Sigma. So in that case, I can kind of be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to play this hero. The thing is, though, you wouldn't be able to decide this because you'd select your role before you went into a map selection. So even if you were like, oh, man, it's Eichenwald, and I really want to play Junkrat for whatever reason on the second point. No, you'd be playing on the first or maybe the third. But let's say you want to play Junkrat and Eichenwald. You could sort of plan for that if you knew the map you were playing on and then select your role. But of course, I don't think it would ever work that way. But what I want you guys to let me know in the comments below is, do you think this would work in Overwatch? Do you think it would help again with another problem the game's got? Because we like, as fans of the game, we look at Overwatch and we say it's got this problem, it needs to be sorted. We had a problem and said, look, we had terrible team comps, there was no structure to the game, and Blizzard have sorted that. But what's happened is 222 and Roll Lock has made a positive impact on the game. But the problem is the balance is so out of whack of the heroes that it's causing a really crazy kind of meta. It's also causing like heroes to just be completely unplayable, and so they really need to start addressing that now, and then we move forward, and then they can maybe bring out like a map pick and ban system. Maybe they give us more avoid slots, maybe they do something to reduce the queue times for DPS. But you know, there's a lot of stuff they could do. Okay, let's talk a bit of Overwatch League. So we're getting into the end of the playoffs now. So these games are like going to be super, super high. I'm a bit down because London went out and they were the defending champions. It's a team I support. You guys know I do a bit of work with the team, and it's unlucky. I hope London would give a bit of a better showing, but hey, there's always next year, so we'll have to wait and see for that. But what we've got here is the Atlanta Reign versus the Hangzhou Spark. I think Atlanta will probably take that. If you guys watch the playoff preview video me and Josh made, I'll put a link to the video description to it. It's really detailed and it does break down a lot of the teams. Atlanta was one of my like outside shouts to get towards the finals, and they're playing really well. Of course, they beat the San Francisco Shock, which was a major surprise at the time, and knocked them down into the losers bracket. The next match we've got is the LA Gladiators versus the San Francisco Shock. You'd expect Shock to take that, but maybe Gladiators can. You don't know. If Gladiators do, it'll be a major upset. If any team loses, though, in between those two games, they're out. They're just gone out of the competition. So the two winners go forward from that bracket and play each other. So this could mean we get Atlanta versus San Francisco Shock again. And the winner of that game will go forward into the losers final. Now, this is where it gets a bit complicated because the next match is the NYXL versus the Vancouver Titans. This is the winners final. Whoever wins this goes forward to the Overwatch League final. But if you lose here, you're not straight out of the competition. You go back down to the losers final and you will play against whoever wins from the losers matches I've just explained. It's a bit complicated, guys. I know it is. But basically what I think will happen here, NYXL have been playing really strong. Like they were known as sandbaggers. They were known as a team which didn't really play very well in the playoffs. They always choked. Not anymore, although I'm going to choke apparently. But not these guys anymore. They are playing super well. Vancouver, though, are pretty good. So, yeah, that game is going to be... That's probably going to be an insane game. That could be the final. Or it could have been the final, but it's just... Well, it still can be the final. It's just an insane game. I'm joking so hard. It's going to be insane. It's going to be insane. Okay, I've recovered. It is going to be insane. But the winner of that will go on towards the grand final. So, whoever wins between those two goes to Philly. And then it is whoever wins the losers final will be going to Philly as well. This is going to be hype, guys. This weekend, super hype. We've got Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This is when it all goes down. You want to watch Overwatch League. If you've not watched it all year, and fair enough if you haven't, but if you haven't, then try and watch now because it's going to be pretty hype. I want you guys in the comments below to let me know what you think about all of this. I've been Sadosa, guys. This is Unit Lost. Again, my voice is destroyed, and it's been quite difficult to record this video. I'm having to, like, pause it and then, like, just because I cough and I like literally I'm dying on the video. But hopefully I get better soon anyway. But yeah, guys, stay strong, do the best you can, and yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. Toodaloo! I waved. I don't know why I waved. I'm like waving at my camera, but it's not even on. I'm an idiot. But then you already knew that.